So I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. Tell me about how you got into announcing for KWPR.
Until they,
Because you used to announce the athletic events, right?
right, well, we did some live broadcast, and when I first, Wayne Weston and I went to school together, and when I got back from Woodward, got settled in here, they were with the radio station. We bought a lot of ads from them then, and Wayne said, why don't you come down? We've got a party here that's paid for some ads for you. And he said, I'll tell you who it is when you get down there. So I went down there, and we did a page about like that, like 30 seconds. And I just read it through, and handed it back to Wayne. And they were over there talking in the corner. This man was Zeb Cole. I can't remember his name now. Him and his wife ended up with Zeb Cole, but he lived down at Inola. But he said, about 30 minutes ago, your opponent just left here, and he said, we were 15 minutes on that one page we wrote for him.
Was that Peterson?
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. He walked in there and he said, this is for Buck. He laid $500 down and walked out.
So you did
Whoa,
that.
yeah. Yeah, he was a good man. Real good man.
So that's how you got into broadcasting? Is that how you started? You started with ads?
Yeah, he said, we're going to do some zebra games. I don't know who was announcing their games. Of course, I was there, and they had moved up then to where they are now. And the first game I announced was Paul Lovell was still the coach, and I was up here between, at the end, when the holidays started, and basketball season had just started, but we had like a 3-day holiday, and we were supposed to report the next Monday. So I went up there, and I was at the game, and they walked over there and said, our announcer didn't show up. He said, do you think you could help us out on that? I said, sure, I'll do that. I'd announced a couple of games out of Woodward because one of my friend's son was playing out there. And then that one and maybe one more. Larry Catherwood was a senior that year. And Larry had a bad knee or something. Larry ended up making All-State and he was a personal friend of mine. And he played guard on my left side my senior year. And I said, give me somebody who knows all his numbers. He says, there he stands, he's a player. Larry, what are you doing here? He said, well, let's go upstairs and get this done. Anyway, that was my, and then, but the broadcast crew was up there. Wayne said, we're going to Collinsville or someplace to do a game on Thursday night. We want you to go with us. And so I made nearly all the games, but the home games was the main thing. I never missed one. I'll tell you how I almost missed one, but I got there in time to do the last half. But Wayne, the guy that owned the station, Wayne somebody, I can't remember him, but he said, how much are you going to set us back on this? And I said, probably, if I get up there, I'll probably set you out of business. What's the matter? He said, I mean, we want to pay you. We don't. No, I don't know. I wouldn't do that because I saw an opportunity there. I'll do it for you guys. And so then the following season, Tuffy Klein was the athletic director. He was a retired coach. He called me and he said, Buck, what would you want to make a deal with me? Be our permanent announcer up there at all home games. I said, what's your offer? And he said, well, give me some idea. How about for nothing? He said, that's the best offer I've had. Did you know, Tuffy? You had to know him, and he would make you laugh, and he'd never laugh at his own jokes. But that started, and it was a long time. They said 38 years, but it could have been more than that because of the helping them out here and there, and then. But after that, I had two grandsons that were playing up at Foyle, and we had a guy here that wanted to be the stadium announcer. He was working for the Claremore Progress, and I thought that was a good idea. So I've been up here long enough. Can't remember his name now, but I retired, and then the following, announced at the end of the game, Phyllis Tanner was up there helping me spot, and our superintendent just passed away.
Matt Ballard.
Right. Ballard. He said, this is our last home game. Why didn't you tell me back there? I said, well, I thought maybe you knew. Phyllis knew it, and I told Coach, don't know who it was now, the last coach. But anyway, he said, all right, the first game next year, he said, I want you to be here because we're going to give the halftime to you. So sure enough, at halftime, we went out there and stood in the middle of the field and went through all this stuff and our goodbyes and what. Some booed and some of them applauded, and then they all applauded. That was make you feel bad situation. And but he gave me a big plaque and a piece of, a thank you thing, like an honorable deal, and I felt real good about it.
How many years did you announce?
They said, and a couple of those announcements, they said 38, but I think that was like Claremore, and that's what, and it might have been more. It could have been 40, 43 or 44 including. But I went up there and I never had any, this is off the record, experience with this 8-man football. And it seems like the announcer there hadn't either. So the superintendent said, Buck, you got 2 grandsons playing up here. He said, you need to go up there and help us announce. So I got up there and I had one spotter, which was Finus Ford. He knew everybody, and he could keep his language down. Oh, I had on the microphone, he did a good job. You got to know Finus, But Trey made the 8-man All-State team and played in their All-State game at Alva. And Tyler, I talked him into leaving up there, and I said, that kid's got a lot of talent. He's a player. And Carlos said, well, if he'll do it. So we talked. He come down here and played his senior year and made All-State. Got to play an All-State game. He got to play in the game in Texas. down where that Air Force Base is. And they all did real well. And when I think it was a homecoming game, they asked me if I wanted to announce that homecoming game, and because my grandson was playing out there, they were going to introduce all of them, like they always do. I didn't do it. I didn't want to, and I said, no, I don't want it. You got it. The thing's in good shape now, and just let it go at that. And but there was 4 times that I can recall when we were on the road. They didn't have an announcer. Tulsa Webster one time, Wagner one time, Miami of all places. I said, this is going to be tough on me. And they said, well, call it like you see it. And there was one more, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the Tulsa teams, but it was kind of fun,